it took me 5 years to get to where I'm at. And
Mm-hmm.
my businesses do successful money. Like we are doing 6 figures a month, in each business. And we are very, very happy about that. Worked very hard for that. And I feel like at my age, that's a very good number.
Yeah.
I won't get into the high level details of it, but it's, yeah, for
Yeah.
6 figures a month.
Thank you to our season sponsor, Mary's Alfajores. They are melt-in-your-mouth sweet treats. Alfajores are a South American traditional cultural pastry treat filled with manjar, a thick, creamy caramel made from milk and sugar spread, sandwiched by two delicious, soft and delicate cookies that in combination melt in your mouth. If you're looking to impress with some cultural variety in your dessert tray, reach out to Mary's Alfajores as they service the Westchester, Fairfield County area and are readily available for catered events. You can reach Mary's Alfajores on Instagram at Mary's Alfajores. Mary's Alfajores, crafted with love, inspired by tradition. Hi everyone, I am Esther, and welcome to the From the Ground Up with Esther podcast, a podcast about growth, resilience, faith, and building a life with intention. This space is for anyone who's starting over, rebuilding, or taking the next step, one story and one lesson at a time. Let's get into the conversation. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of From the Ground Up with Esther. And today's episode, I am with my friend Anthony. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Esther. How are you?
I'm good. Very excited to have him here. I met Anthony maybe a year ago, and it's been really a blessing to see his growth and everything that he's doing. And here on the podcast, you know that I like to share stories of growth and faith and people that are building. And I've been wanting to have Anthony, but it was never the right time. But I think this time it's the right time.
Everything happens
At the right time. So tell us who you are, what you do.
So my name is Anthony Raimo. I'm 25 years old. I am a entrepreneur and general contractor is my main business. Then I also own a housing company that we help traveling nurses and traveling construction crews and sports teams get housed out of state on their work assignments, things of that nature. But besides that, I'm a man of faith. I'm a man of mindset, and I just love building things that I'm passionate about and that can help other people. I just love serving the community, building relationships with people. And yeah, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help spread the word of God through all of the relationships that I build.
That's so good. Yeah. Let me say that I'm very proud of him because he's a young man. He's 25, and I see you as a very mature person,
Thank you.
right? And building all these businesses and surrounding yourself with other men that are also growing in their walks and their lives and their faith.
Right.
And I think that's very important because a lot of people that are young don't do that often, right?
Of course. No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest things for men, people in general to face is getting close to faith, getting close to their problems and, facing it. And that's kind of how I've helped myself and putting myself around, like you said, the people who are building and walking their own paths and seeing what they've been through has helped me realize how I can navigate my own path.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, so I see I see you doing all these things, which is great. Tell me, where do you grow up? Maybe a little bit of your background, what inspires you to be this person or to want to be this kind of man?
So I grew up in the Bronx. I still live in the Bronx. I come from a divorced family. I wouldn't say we are the most put together, to put it lightly, but you know, every family has their problems, and with the problems that I've seen and experienced throughout my family, it's given me a certain perspective on life and what I don't want to experience. I come from a poor mindset and a poor background in general. Don't come from a lot of money, and I've seen the way money can be lost, but also had and then neglected at the same time. So for me, money, mindset, and understanding emotional capacity are very, like they're all huge things in my life. And with that, God is at the center of all of those things. He has blessed me to navigate, my relationships that I have been building and that I do want to build, and that, I have in my life with my family to keep growing to be better. But long story short, not coming from anything great, I've realized what I didn't want, and I looked at myself in the mirror through a lot of bullshit. Through
Yeah.
Can I curse? Through a lot of BS. You know, there's been a lot of self-reflection, and I've had to realize, hey, I want to change my life. Otherwise, I'm going to keep repeating the same cycle
Mhm.
and the same trauma. So I had to find my way closer to God. I had to find, you know, myself, and I had to look myself in the mirror and say, is this something that I'm happy with? And from there, I began taking the necessary steps to start changing myself and changing my life.
Yeah. No, that's good. And as you say this, I can think of the name of the podcast is From the Ground Up, right? And you're saying you want to change your life, and the Bible talks about generational curses. I don't know if you heard of that,
Absolutely.
but it's good that when a person is young in age and they see what they don't want in their lives anymore and they decide to change it, I think that's powerful, right?
Of
Because
course.
we can go in life and keep bringing all the same things that our family brought into our lives that we don't want without realizing we keep bringing those things and dragging all of that. But when you have that reflection and decide, wait, I don't want this in my life, I have to do something to change it. I think that's powerful.
I appreciate you for recognizing that, because it isn't easy, it's the self-reflection that you have to do. Not everybody wants to do that. A lot of the time too, even when doing the self-reflection, it's hard to even pinpoint what is the main source or cause of that problem. I react this way when someone says something like this to me, but
Mhm.
all right, yeah, maybe I have an anger problem. No, maybe not. Maybe what is the root cause of that? And then dig deeper and deeper and
Yeah.
deeper until, you start uncovering some really interesting and uncomfortable stuff.
Yeah, yeah. What when was that moment and how old were you when you started to realize this? How was that moment?
I mean, how and when, I don't know when realistically. It was more of just a transition and a progressive thing that I went through. So full transparency, like in high school, senior year of high school, I was doing a lot of things I shouldn't have been doing. I was, selling drugs at the time. I was my alumni, and all my old teachers are gonna see this. But yeah, no, I'm
We can cut that
yeah,
part.
no, I don't care. I like the rawness to it, honestly, if you're okay with it, because I think that's what people like to
Yeah.
hear. But in general, I was not doing the right things. I was selling drugs. My mental health wasn't there. I was doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have done. And went into college, dropped out of college, was very still lost. I was just very all over the place. I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. I didn't know where I wanted to go in life. I was very detached from my religion. I grew up Catholic, but throughout everything I've been through, I felt like God had abandoned me, at one point.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that's a very common theme amongst a lot of Christians, Catholics, people who have just tried to find their journey and path. But where I'm getting to is that, it was no distinct moment, but over the years of getting out of high school, getting into college, trying to figure out my business, trying to figure out, what I wanted from life, I was able to notice that, yeah, there were certain changes happening, little things I had to do. If it wasn't from, it was as simple as the tiny things like waking up and making your bed, to waking up and going to the gym and setting those little habits, and then realizing that that's God working his life in me, and, or working life into me, I should say. And from there, it was just progress after progress. And it's not easy, it's always a hard journey, but one step at a time is what I really have come to understand.
Yeah, yeah. One step at a time. Because it takes time to relearn and unlearn all the habits that we had that we grew up with
Of
or
course.
things that we saw that we thought were normal.
Of course.
And then once you start learning and seeing the light, you go, wait. this is actually not good for my life. It's gonna take me nowhere.
And you become very aware of like what's good for you and what's not good for you. You know,
Mhm.
I'm sure you can relate to this. You have the discernment to realize, yeah, this may be fun, but it's not serving the right purpose,
Yeah.
things like that. And it just comes with time,
Mhm.
comes with experience. I'm young. I appreciate you, acknowledging that I'm mature though. And that it only and sadly comes with a crazy amount of experiences.
It does. I can understand that because I like acknowledging that when people are mature, because people, we get more mature because of experience, like you said, right? And
Right.
sometimes we weren't meant to experience those things because God created us with the stages of life, right? Childhood, and you grow as a teenager. You're supposed to enjoy those stages of life in a healthy way.
Of
But
course.
because of how the world is, a lot of us don't get to enjoy that stage the right way, and we get to experience things we weren't supposed to, maybe be responsible for people we weren't supposed to,
Exactly.
so we mature ahead of time.
You hit it on the nail. It comes down to a lot of those factors. Everybody's life, I feel like it's weird. Everybody's life is very similar yet different. We'll
Hmm.
all live different experiences per se at different points of our life, but they're kind of the same experience. We all deal with death, we all deal with loss, we all deal with, you know, birthdays and graduations, and sometimes missing friends and who's moving away and this that, and all in certain what I like to consider fonts,
Hmm.
various fonts. But where I'm getting at is that you really do get to understand that through all of those different fonts, those are all different life experiences, but everybody's the same. So we're all on the surface the same, and
Just
you know,
yeah.
and I think for me right now, everything that I've dealt with has formed me to be the person I am.
Mhm.
And it's gotten me closer to realizing that we are the same, and God is actually at the center of all of us in one way or another. Even those that don't realize it, you know, we fight against it for the longest time. And I try to not push my religion or our religion on anybody because it's never going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a relationship, right?
mm,
Because and let's talk about that a little bit because you're mentioning God, and I remember when we went out for lunch, you were meeting people of faith, and you were maybe wanting to know more about God.
that's it, yeah,
And I see that you have been going to church a lot more lately. I can
yeah,
see that on your stories, and
yes.
which makes me happy. Um,
Go to
tell me a little
church.
bit about that transformation that you're going through with your faith and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been an interesting ride. Like I mentioned before, I had fallen away from my faith for a while. It's not been an easy journey. Just going through the highs and lows of life, I've went through questioning it, but now where I'm at is I've put myself around great people, and they've helped me find a safe space that, I can call home, and that's Life Church in Mamaroneck. And I at one point I was going very consistently this past year. Life got in the way a little bit with work and everything, so I wasn't going as consistently in person to service, but they're amazing because they do live streams online. So was watching those. But long story short, it's just I've been working hard to try and form that relationship with God. It doesn't come easy. I wake up on a Sunday and I don't want to go anywhere. Sometimes I've been working all week. We don't want to move sometimes, but I force myself to get up. I know that there's going to be a benefit out of me going, and even in that struggle of, hey, I'm tired, or hey, this may not be the most ideal situation or moment for me to, like I'm not feeling it. That's it.
Yeah.
But I go. And that's the thing most people don't realize is you have to put in the work with anything,
Yeah.
with any relationship,
Mhm.
like you have to put in that work. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I suggest other people try doing.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be perfect, but be consistent.
Mhm.
Consistency isn't a matter of running on 100% battery every day. Consistency is a matter of running on, you know, set standards every day. You may be at 50% one day, you may be at 10% the next, you may be at 5% the next. maybe at 100 the next day, but
Yeah.
you're there every day. Even if you could have a conversation with God, for 5 minutes, you wake up in the morning and you just say a quick prayer saying, thank you, God, for
Yeah.
waking me up. Thank you for allowing me to, be blessed and have a roof over my head, food on my table.
Yeah.
It's those simple things.
Yeah, it's so true because a lot of times we think we have to be perfect, and God's love is not like that, right? The Bible says that Jesus died for us, so we don't have to do anything good works to earn that love. He already
Right.
loves us,
Exactly.
and we do good things because as a result of that love.
Exactly.
Uh,
It is to pour his love into other people. That's why
mhm.
we do good
Yeah.
things. Not because we need any recognition. Living a good life, living a moral life, living a just life it gives us more favor with him, per
Mhm.
se. And
Yeah.
that's what allows us the opportunity to have that chance to go up to heaven.
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to an episode about that today, so it's
Yeah.
interesting.
It's weird how that works, right?
Yeah, yeah, I was listening about that because you know, we don't have to do good works to go to heaven. The only thing we have to do is choose the way of Jesus in our lives, the way of God. Yeah, allowing him to be in our lives because we all have free will and we decide, like you
Right.
said, on Sunday, we can stay home, but we decide to go and feed our souls
Right.
with the good word.
No matter how tired.
I know how tired you are. Yeah, so I also wanted to learn a little bit more about what you do and, because like I said, you're a young man that's building and doing things that are inspiring. Take me back a little bit to how you started your first business, how everything began. I'm very curious.
Yeah, no, I I find it funny because like I get this question asked to me so much
Oh,
and
yeah?
I never really know like the perfect way to answer it, but
Mhm.
I'm trying to figure out that still because my life is just ever so changing. But where I started and how I started was I dropped out of school. 2019, I graduated high school. I went to St. John's University for my freshman year of college. COVID had came to hit my second semester. So it was like maybe 2 weeks left of that semester. Ended up being sent home, took our finals, like at home and everything online. But that whole year I was just partying. That whole year I was just messing up, partying, partying, partying. And, you know, I was horrible in class. My GPA was horrible. So, long story short, it came to the end of that year. I looked at everything on the table. I was like, I'm at risk of potentially losing my scholarship. And I really didn't want to be here to begin with because I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be an engineer. None of those things ever interested me because I knew still, regardless of it being a high paying job, I knew you were trading your time for money. And I knew you were capped for what you could earn. Didn't matter if you were the best, brain surgeon, you still only can make X amount of dollars because you can only charge X amount of dollars for the exchange of time that you can give. Nobody's going to pay, whatever. You get the
Yeah.
example. But point is that after that year, I realized I didn't want to stay in school. So I was, educating myself. I dropped out, educated myself on real estate investment. There was an investment style called wholesaling that I came across. And that is basically where you take a property that's disheveled, run down, you get that at an under market value. Let's just say fair market value for a new home is 500K. You're trying to get that home at 250. You put 50K in work into it, then it's worth five. But what I'm doing is that at that time I was grabbing the properties at 250K and I was taking the rights of the contract. So you get it under contract and then you sell it to an investor.
Mhm.
Fast forward a few years, I sucked at that business and I did a few fix and flips. I raised around $1.5 million from, private investors. And I did some fix and flips. Long-term residential rental property I held on to for about a year or two. And wasn't great though. COVID began hitting and well, not even began hitting, COVID hit and the market was kind of turning sideways. I wasn't able to keep raising money from investors. My partners and I kind of like had no other choice but to, let's just say, call it quits on those businesses. Fast forward, we pivoted to a different model, which is the midterm housing model that we follow now. And that is our corporate housing business. That business is Trident Corporate Housing. And we focus, like I said before, on housing traveling nurses, construction crews, and sports teams as they go out of state on their work assignments. For the sports teams, most of the time they're out of state doing their trainings and things like that. And then the rest is pretty self apparent. When it comes to the general contracting firm, I mean, started that a few years ago and been building that. And it's just bathrooms, kitchens, roofs, and starting to get into additions and, building homes and doing some commercial fit outs and things of that nature. And I mean, to sum it all up, it's been one hell of a journey. Hasn't been easy. As I said, I failed. I many times I was questioning myself, questioning whether I wanted to continue doing this, if it was even worth like, believing all the doubt that everybody was putting into me and all the doubt that I was putting into myself. But I didn't give up. I worked my jobs while I was doing that. I worked as a, pizzeria delivery driver. I worked at restaurants. I was a busboy. I was a waiter, working construction. I worked in a lumber yard. There are things that I've done that, put me to this point with mindset and realizing, hey, I'm going to either make it or I'm not.
Yeah.
And so I forced myself to make it. And it's not easy. I'm not making what like Jeff Bezos or like not making anything near that, but we make good money. I'm very happy for the business that I've been building for myself and happy for the life that I'm building for myself, most important.
Good. That's so good. And when you say you fail, right? Which it's somebody else came here and said it's not failing. It's like you're just learning, gaining experience.
Exactly.
What have you learned through that season? Because you're still growing and building.
Through that season, what I'd say I specifically learned was patience.
Mm.
So when I first got into the business, a lot of it was hype around, social media. It was, I'm young, I'm hustling, I'm trying to find something that I'm passionate about. And then you see all these people who are making a lot of money very quickly. So I'm doing my thing and my expectations were kind of blown out the water, where it was like I wanted to be making X amount of dollars by this amount of time, but I had no plan on how I was going to do that. I was educating myself, but I didn't really, you just don't know. You're naive. I'm young. Yeah, you could piece things together. And then hopefully, if you pieced it together the right way the first time, you made some money and then you kept that momentum going.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessarily me. There were a couple of bumpy rides along the road. But yeah, it was patience, understanding that everything is going to come at the right time. And
Yeah. How long has it taken for you to make the money that you wanted since you started? Has it been a
it's
while?
been what since the start. So I've made.
Yeah.
I mean, the money I'm making now. It took me 5 years to get to where I'm at, and
Hmm.
my businesses do successful money. Like we are doing 6 figures a month, in each business, and we are very, very happy about that. We worked very hard for that, and I feel like at my age, that's a very good number.
Yeah.
I won't get into the high level details of it, but it's yeah, for
Yeah.
6 figures a month, we worked very hard for that, and
5 years taking you time and
yeah, 5 years,
lessons.
yeah.
That's where I want to get to is it's not easy because when you mention social media, we see all these people, saying, yeah, make money this way or things like that. And
They think it's so easy, but it's all the lessons that you learn is what makes it worth it. But if it was so easy, there would be nothing really worth it.
yeah,
And I think that's the misconception, all that stuff that
yeah.
everybody wants to rush into something, get the highlight out of it, have that highlight reel, but didn't learn anything along the way. Can't really have that.
No, no, it's so good. And who inspires you to be like this? Is there someone that you look up to?
No,
No?
God, Jesus, like seriously, like yeah, like as cliche as it sounds, and as like I'm not trying to be that guy that's just like just let me be a pick me type of guy, but No, it's God. Yeah, at one point I would have said it was some type of guy that, made a shit ton of money and he was flashing around all these crazy cars and things like that. But it's not about that for me anymore. My mind has honestly shifted. I like stuff. Don't get me wrong. I like stuff. Take me out to a nice dinner. I'm not opposed to that. Get me a nice house. Yes. But do I need those things to be happy? No. I've had nothing.
Mm.
I think it's that perspective of having nothing and really being down on your luck mentally, emotionally, and no matter what real dollar amount you had, you wouldn't have been fulfilled anyway. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's it.
Oh, that's good. That's good because yeah, not sometimes, that's all we need. It's all we need, right?
Yeah,
And it's good that you mentioned that about fulfillment too, because a lot of times people chase money or fame
absolutely.
and they put their identity in those things. And then when those things disappear, they're done. It's
Mhm.
like they don't have identity anymore.
They wanted that instant gratification. They thought they would get fulfillment out of it, but that's not, they wanted to make that their identity. Once it no longer served them, they felt so empty. I mean, I felt that way in relationships. I felt that way with, building myself too, because you try and find and poke at pieces that like you think are gonna fill you, and no. And I'm young still, and I still deal with those things. I go out and like there's temptation everywhere. Oh, there's the pretty woman there. There's drugs over here, or there's alcohol over here. It's like, but to get that fulfillment from these materialistic things, I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes,
Yeah.
but to be aware of that is, I
Mhm.
think, the biggest thing anyone can do.
That's so good. I like that you're saying those things because a lot of people don't like to say um the temptation part is
Right.
there, but it's true, especially now. I don't know how you're understanding or how you're go about all those things, but it's good to hear that part because also as a Christian now, a believer, you know, God wants the best for our lives. And like
Of course.
you said, there is always temptation, especially for men. I think it's hard. If you're young,
Hard. It's very hard. Let's just put it like that. As a young man, you're led by so much social media and there's so much on there. And I mean, I've gotten so much better at maneuvering it, but even the guys growing up younger than me, like that are getting out of high school,
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, and not in social media, especially, you know, like I said, men and are if you're a single man looking for a wife or a relationship and you don't have that yet, there's so many options out there that the world offers where you can waste your life and waste your money on
Of course.
woman, alcohol that will get you off track of the vision that you have.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
mean, there's distractions everywhere. I was in a long-term relationship and I only recently just got out of that. And like there's distraction even in that.
Mm.
There's distraction in what you think is stability and what you think is comfort. You can be close and you could have things, but it may not actually be what you need. And you
Mm.
just end up again have to pour into yourself and pour into the Lord and figure
Yeah.
those things out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So now, where do you see yourself? Because you're at the beginning of your journey. You're in your 20s, and they say when you're in your 20s, you have to start building, right? So when you get to your 30s, you kind of have more like a stable life and kind of know
Where you want
where
to
you want to go,
be. Yeah.
settle down. And that's what I hear about
So you want
men.
to know like what's the
Yeah.
next step? Like where
Uh,
do I want to go? What's the next chapter?
do
Like
you have do you have
a plan for that?
like a vision yet of where do you see Anthony?
I mean, 5 years out, I want to have a wife. I want to have hopefully a few kids, maybe one or two at that point. My ideal thing would be to get married by the time maybe I'm like 28, 29,
Okay.
travel a little bit with my wife, go, make some memories and then have a kid 30, 31.
Girls, are you listening to this? A
Yeah,
good
they either are very ecstatic or like very disappointed.
disappoint. No, I think it's good. I mean, I think 28 is a good age.
I think it's fair. I still got things I want to build for myself and I'm not stopping for anybody
Mm.
realistically. So, it's either you're gonna come along for the ride and you
Mm-hmm.
accept what I'm building, not to be an ass about it. Some
No,
people can think
Mhm.
that's rude to say.
I think it's good. You want someone that's going to help you, that's going to,
All right.
help for both of us. At the end of the day, it will be for benefit of the whole family.
Exactly. It's not just for the sacrifice of myself, it's for the sacrifice of the future of the
Yeah.
family. If you want a good life, you want to be able to be safe and protected in a good home, in a good neighborhood, and the kids want to go to a good school and a great education. There's sacrifices that I have to make, for
Yeah.
you to live that type of life. And there's sacrifices that the family has to make, on
Mm-hmm.
their end. It's all compromise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
People don't realize that though. They think it's, oh, let me take. No,
Mhm.
it's all compromise. Husband, wife, kids to mother,
Mhm.
kids to, father. Even as I've gotten older, I see where I've, you know, like did not compromise with my parents growing up,
Mm.
or yeah.
Yeah, because now that you mention your parents, right? That's so important growing up, what we see and things like that. Is there something that you think about when you think of those things, like an experience that you had with your parents when you said, well, this is a good thing I want to bring into my life, and this is maybe another thing that I probably shouldn't bring into my life?
I mean, immediately the first thing that comes into my mind on the side that I shouldn't bring into my life is full transparency is addiction. Addiction runs in my family and it's not something that I necessarily am completely comfortable with still, but I'm finding my way with navigating it as healthily as possible. People in my life are directly affected by it and it's sad to see. And I've seen how it's had its effect on me too, growing up, where even as a teenager, you're out drinking with your friends and then it starts to become very normalized. And then you're drinking in college and it's normalized. And these are all things that, like, as I'm getting older, at 25, I could be out every weekend drinking. I go out for freaking one night. I'm home by 2 and I feel exhausted the next morning. I feel hungover and I didn't even drink anything. I had maybe 2 glasses of wine. You know what I mean? But and it's weird, but your body realizes it. The less you have it, the less you need it. And I notice now that, yeah, all of these things. So with that, I would keep that out of my life. Addiction, alcohol, things like that. And then something I would take with me into my next family, into building my family, I would say is it's hard to pinpoint because, to be real, I've learned a lot more of what not to do from my
Mhm.
family than what to do.
Mm.
I was loved in weird ways by both my mother and my father. They both showed their love very differently to me, and both in ways that I needed, but at the same time didn't need. So it's like it's very kind of vague, but I think there's there's got to be nurturingness. I think you got to be emotionally available. So I think I would take maybe some type of nurturing aspect from my mother and my family,
Yeah.
and give that to my kids. I definitely want to make them feel safe.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it's good that you can acknowledge that and recognize and see, because sometimes we don't even realize the things we need to let go or bring in, right?
Yeah.
So it's good that you have that awareness.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously, I think it's harder for people to have that. I don't think I'm perfect at it. I just know, like, I want to change, so I have to start, like, digging at it little by little. I'll keep on uncovering more.
Yeah. So it's how many siblings do you have?
I have an older brother.
No, there's it's just the two of you.
Yeah, so well, he's my half brother too. I have divorced parents, but he's a half brother. My mom had him at 18.
Hmm.
Kind of crazy story. He has a crazy story as well. But yeah, my parents have been divorced since I was 2, and my father's been in his life since he was like 14, 15. So yeah,
That's okay. Yeah, we all have our.
no, it's just strange because it's like, it's honestly, to be speaking about it on camera is interesting. I'm fine being uncomfortable, like, and I love it. And all of this, I
Is
want
it
it to all stay.
uncomfortable? I know, because I always ask people why you want to share, why you don't want to share, because it can be vulnerable, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes if when you don't talk about it and then you have to talk about it, you realize that, oh wait, actually
So
feeling it's a lot to actually express it.
yeah.
And I totally get it because I can be like that too. There are things that I talk about on camera, other things I don't talk about, and it's just like, wait, I'm feeling something in me right now.
It's stirring up some emotions. I don't know if I want to deal with this.
Yeah.
Oh God, the
uh,
sweats are coming.
No, no, but I think it's good when you think about it and you kind of reflect on it
Absolutely.
and can go back to it and say, wait, this was their experience, but now I'm realizing I have the power to be different this time, and
You said it.
we can't blame them anymore because they also had their experiences growing up. So there's really nothing to blame there, right?
Exactly. It's learning to forgive them. And if
Mm-hmm.
anything, recognize that you said they did have their own experiences. Forgive them for any mistakes they may have made.
Yeah.
And then move on and just be better. Do better.
Yeah, move on and do better. Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. It's one of the
Yeah, can you maybe share a little bit? We're gonna get a little vulnerable.
it's one of the hardest things out there, right? We all say we want to forgive and say we do forgive, but we hold on to so many grudges. We constantly just hold on to the past and dwell on it. And I think that right there is a form of not forgiving. Even when it comes down to as little as, oh, you said this guy's name the wrong way, oh, you forgot his name, and then you sit there the rest of the day thinking about, oh, I forgot his name. I feel like a jerk, Is he thinking about that? Like those anxious thoughts, or, you go as far as, you curse someone out and, you should have asked for forgiveness. And this is actually good because I was in the gym parking lot this past weekend and things got a little intense for a second because this gentleman in front of me was not moving. It was an older gentleman with his wife. And take this as you will, but if you're over the age of 75, you should be getting your license renewed every year and redoing the test every year because I think you need to actually know if you could drive. You can't see most of the time. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's hard.
So long story short, he was blocking, he wasn't moving. There was another car approaching. He wasn't making space for that car to come through. And so I started beeping my horn lightly. But we were already sitting there for a good 5, 10 minutes. I was being patient. I was all right. But then at this point, the patience meter just dropped. It didn't even start slowly going down. It was just, I was distracted. I was patient. And then bam, it dropped. And I was aware of that immediately though. But I still reacted, unfortunately. I got out of the car. I said to the dude, I got a little loud with him. I was like, can you move your fucking car? Like, you're in my way.
Mm-hmm.
Afterwards, the gentleman passing me, because it was a two-way, there was a car in front of me, the car that was coming, he was like, you guys are going the wrong way. And he started screaming at me, and I was like, shut the it's a two-way street, whatever. And we both saw each other inside the gym. So for the first 5 minutes, and I went to go work out with my friend. For the first 5 minutes, I'm bitching to my friend. I'm like, this guy over here, like I'll toss him around. And I was letting my ego get to me. And then I was like, damn, hold on, let me take a step back. Because it's just me and my friend. I'm just talking to him.
Yeah.
I was like, let me take a step back real quick. And then sat down. I was like, God, I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got up and I went up to the guy and I said, I apologize. I said, my name's Anthony. I apologize for before. We both, I got a little heated with you. He's like, no, it's no big deal. I got excited too and everything. We were, that old man was blocking the way. He wasn't moving out of the way. So we were, we ended up pinning it on the old man, but we found commonality. We forgave each other, and I just wanted to be that bigger person. But, that's what I mean. I'm not perfect. I'm no saint, and I don't think anybody is. But the second you can acknowledge you're not,
Yeah.
and then realize, though, hey, I may have been wrong in this moment, but let me do now what I need to do to correct that at least. Then next time, hopefully you'll be even less reactive.
Yeah.
Hopefully that whole thing would have even not been necessary, you know?
That's good that you did that because your pride, you didn't let your pride take over you,
Exactly.
right?
It was getting there. I did let it get there.
Yeah, for a little bit.
But yeah, that I worked on that.
That's good. And that is also the work of God and the Holy Spirit in our lives, to be honest, because we don't want to ever apologize or say nothing. We want to win,
Yes.
you
That's
know?
all I wanted in that second. But
Mhm.
then I was like, this is not me and this is not what God wants. He gives me the discernment. I'm
Yeah.
very blessed with that through everything I've been through. And that's the one thing I think I've really prayed for the most is discernment. And
Mm.
in those moments, you're not going to avoid them necessarily.
Yeah.
They'll always give you the chance to act differently. If you act on it, then you act on it. That's on you.
Yeah.
But at least know if that was from him, not from him. Like I said, fix it afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. No, I'm proud of myself because if you knew me 2 years ago, oh my goodness, I was a very hostile, like excitable individual,
Mm.
and that just stems from trauma,
Yeah.
and all these family problems and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
No, but you're changing. God is
yes,
changing you. It takes time.
yeah.
It takes experiences, more of those that will come your way.
I've had a lot of those, so I hope that I don't need any more of those. A little, like less and less each year. Maybe let's get to the point of maybe once a year.
But less. Yeah, no, yeah, you'll get better. You'll get better. As
Yeah,
long as you stay, in track, all
exactly.
right, on track or in track, on
On track.
track,
Yeah,
on track,
yeah,
and allow God to keep shaping you
yeah.
and surrounding you with the right people that'll come into your life to help you shape into that man that God wants you to be, you know,
Thank you.
every time. Yeah, yeah. So tell me a little bit because you're in this business world and surrounded by so many amazing men in your life right now. I mean, from what I see, I don't know how close of a relationship you have with all these people that we meet.
Yeah. Like Eddie and
Eddie,
Hugo.
Hugo.
Yeah. Yeah, no, those are my friends. Those are my good friends. I'd like to consider them that at least over the past year. They've just, they've poured into me and
Mm-hmm.
I've poured into them. And I think that's what a strong relationship,
Yeah,
has a good foundation and builds a good foundation on is being there for each other in times of need, even if it's not as vulnerable as like, getting deep into emotional stuff, but, just reliability, hey, I need a helping hand with something, or I need some advice here, or showing up when asked to show up. I think that's an uncommon theme
mm,
amongst a lot of relationships. A lot of people think that you can ask for a lot when it's not that. You just want people to be there, right? You want
yeah,
people to show up for you. That's what a strong relationship is. So
yeah.
that's what they do. So I have to commend them and I thank them and I love those guys. Those are
That's so
really,
good.
you know, my brothers I like to consider.
That's great. No, they are great people to be
Yeah,
surrounded by and learn from.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They're
What
good leaders. They are great leaders.
Since you mentioned them and that, can you tell me what is something that you're learning from them that maybe you didn't know before or that you have seen other men?
How to be a good husband. Yeah, I think it's how to be a good leader, like I said as well. They carry themselves, their faith, their businesses, and their families with a lot of pride, a lot of, distinction. They work very hard at being the best versions of themselves. And I think, we all do. We all mirror each other in very similar ways, in very many ways, I should say. But yeah, they are good men and they lead. They lead their families well. They lead their community well. And I think that's what I want to keep doing as well. I have an impact in the community. I feel like when I come out now in this space, people know me. They know that I'm a respectable young man. They worked hard, obviously, for that. They worked hard for that recognition. I'm working hard for that recognition, but on a deeper level with their families. When I met them, I saw like I was still in my relationship at that time. And I took pieces of what I knew they were excelling at and pieces of advice that they gave me. If I was having a problem with my relationship, I would go ask them, or they would give me pieces of advice on, things that have just happened in life in general as a man, dealing with things at this age or this problem in a relationship. So Yeah, they gave me perspective, they gave me advice, and I think that's my biggest takeaway from them was how to be a good husband, a good man in a relationship. Though, and it's very interesting and contradictory, and people will take this as it is, but to have broken up out of a relationship, but still have such clarity and certainty on knowing that I'm a good leader and a good provider, that's because I know the work that I do and the work that I put in to provide for myself,
Hmm.
and that in turn makes, are those are the right things for myself, and in turn those are going to be the right things for my family, the woman that's in my life, the kids that I end up having. That's undebatable,
Yeah.
that's just pure facts. You can't refute what good work ethic and what good habits and things end up doing and leading to do. So,
Yeah.
but that's the biggest takeaway.
It's good. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you just broke up with someone. It
Yeah,
doesn't define the kind of person that you are,
no,
right? It's a learning experience.
of course.
Yeah, yeah, it's a learning, and it's good to be surrounded with people like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They've been lifting me up through it all. And
Yeah,
I'm there for them too in every way that I can be.
that's great. Yeah, I like that. And now, can you tell me your definition of success? Because you're learning and growing.
Uh,
What does success look like to you with all the experiences that you had and are having?
Success is everybody has their own definition of it.
Mhm.
And for me, I think we touched on the point a little bit before that success is not materialistic. Do I like those things? Yes, everybody likes those things. We don't need them though. Having had nothing, I don't care about the flashy watches necessarily to know that I'm a happy person, and that doesn't define my success. What defines my success for me now is having the time freedom and financial freedom as well in order to have that time freedom to make memories with my loved ones. I want to go experience things. I want to go out to nice places, out to nice dinners, take vacations, with my family, and I don't still have, like, all of it at once. I don't I'm not living the most free life. I work every day. I work 12, 14-hour days, but it's a progress, and the progress and the progression has just consistently, like, gotten better. Little by little, I'm noticing I'm spending more time with my family. I'm having more money to make more memories and do things. So, little by little, it's just that, I think that's what success is for me. For other people, it may be the money, it may be the flashy cars and the
Yeah.
watches and, the houses and things like that. And I love it. Listen, I don't blame them. I
Yeah.
love it too, but I don't need that. I
Mhm.
want that.
Mhm.
That's just going to be the byproduct of working my ass
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
That's not the journey.
Mhm. And what advice will you give someone your age or maybe younger? Someone that was your age, 19, 20 years old, now that you went through all of these other stages, what can you tell someone?
Try it all
Mhm.
until you figure out what you like. But also, the main thing, main thing is do it scared. Just do it. Like literally, like Nike says, just do it. Simply do it because the more you let yourself think about it, the more you let yourself overthink it and let other people input their opinions and tell you what they want you to do and what they think you should do and how you should live your life and what business you should start or should you stay in school or should you study this. Don't listen to them. Do what you want to do. Do what is going to make you happy, but not with the sense of instant gratification, but the sense of true fulfillment and knowing that long term, that action you're taking can lead you to a better path. I don't suggest you just drop out of school and say, you know, I don't know what I want to do, but my parents, are telling me to stay in school and I want to be rebellious because that's what's making me happy. No, don't do that. You do exactly the latter, You do, all right, I want to drop out of school, but do I have a plan or do I at least know that whatever I end up doing, I am going to make it work? or figure it out one way or another. Because
Mhm.
I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a definite plan when I dropped out of school, but I knew that no matter what it took and no matter what it takes, I could go broke tomorrow. All my businesses could go broke tomorrow. I could lose everything and I would still start over and I would still keep grinding and I would still keep building and I would do it all over again. And that's the thing that people need to understand right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And how do you, for those that are watching and say, now, like you're giving this advice, how do you start a business like the ones you have? How do you get investors to
Raise money and
yeah.
you start building businesses and I mean again, my businesses all started in various different ways. My path is far from traditional, very far from it. But to start, you're going to need a business plan. I mean, simply put, you need an idea. You need to have an idea of what you want to do. And then from there, you map out what steps do I have to take to generate income from this. So a lot of the time, it starts with people's hobbies, you know.
Mhm.
Oh, they like washing cars. So they go then start a detailing business. And every summer now, they wash their neighbors' cars, you know,
Mhm.
and they're making a few dollars off of that. And then so on and so forth. But simply put, you're going to have an idea. You need to map out a plan. From that plan, you need to start learning how you're going to bring in clients, customers. So that entails marketing. That's what you would consider lead generation. From lead generation, then you need to understand how to make that consistent. All right, I got one client, I got one customer. Now, how do I get two, three, four, five, six? From there, you work in systems and structure. Those systems and structure would allow scalability. From there, you also implement people and processes. It's a part of the system and structure portion, but systems and people, that's a
Mhm.
part of the scalability aspect. And then at the end, you have your freedom, you know, not completely always. It depends on what level of scalability you take it to. Like I'm at a certain point right now where we have systems in place. I have partners, but we also are implementing employees as well. So we have systems and structure, and we have people to delegate tasks to. Not everybody will have that, but it took me 5 freaking years to finally get to this point, you know,
Mhm.
and have that sustainability and have, what most people work forever for, work 10, 20 years to have. And I'm blessed because I just failed enough times before I gave up. And I
Mhm.
didn't give up. Obviously, I'm not gonna give up, but that's it right there. It's a simple roadmap of business plan and then systems and people and structure.
Y And I'm curious now because you mentioned, this dropping out of school and all of that. How was that moment when your parents knew, your mom, that you were dropping out of school?
Honestly, it's kind of interesting because I don't know if I was like really not like in the right mindset then, but I don't really remember what their opinion was on it too much. I think my mom was not too like surprised because my brother hadn't really done too much with himself in school, and she knew I didn't really want to be there anyway. Then my dad was a little pissed off, I think, because he was helping me pay for that.
What were you studying at school?
Nothing specific. I was going in for business management.
Um,
Yeah, I was going in for business management, but like, entrepreneurship, things like that.
yeah.
But freshman year, you're just doing all the preliminary stuff, public
Mhm.
speaking, I think it was global warming I was taking, all these classes that did nothing for me.
Yeah.
But that's why I dropped out because I also saw that perspective of things like I'm spending a year of my life here. And this is supposed to be a 4-year journey for me, right? And let's just call that was the fair run. Like 4 years, I'm supposed to be out of here and I'm supposed to start school. I mean, I'm supposed to start my life. And that didn't feel right to me that I already just wasted a year, even if it wasn't for the point of me partying.
Yeah.
It was like, what classes did I take here that actually benefited me?
Yeah.
In hindsight, the only one that kind of did is public speaking. And I know that didn't even help me. Realistically, I give my praise of my speaking abilities now to just doing it so much with
Yeah.
networking now, like
Yeah.
meeting you and everybody else.
Yeah. So good.
But my parents they were a little confused and not too upset.
Yeah, because that's always.
It's people's main concern. I think for me, I've always been a hard-headed kid, hard-headed guy, and they knew that I was gonna do what I wanted regardless. My mom always tells me a story that when I was young, she has this one story of me like running around the store. She, and she looked away for a second, and there I am, just 20 feet running. I'm like 2 years old. It's one of those old mom stories. She's just like reminiscing. But I was always an independent child, apparently. So I guess that's where they felt like, all right, he'll figure it out. My mom is like that now too. I won't keep rambling about her, but in general, that's kind of our dynamic now. She knows I'll figure it out regardless. She very much so babies and coddles my brother, but doesn't do the same to me. But I appreciate it more so than I don't like it.
Okay.
It's helped me be better.
Okay, that's good. You have a good relationship with your mom
Better than what it
than
used to
we
be.
used to be.
Yeah, family, like I said, has always been a tough thing for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
But everybody has their dynamics, struggled with a lot of stuff,
yeah.
but working on it constantly. At
Good.
least I'm doing my part.
Yeah, that's what matters, right? With doing your part, and you're doing a lot of great work in yourself. And the most important part, getting closer to God, that He's the one who's going to guide you
Absolutely.
and help you. And I'm so happy that you were able to be here and share a little bit of your journey,
Yeah, me too.
right?
I appreciate you creating the opportunity,
Yeah.
having the platform, creating the space to feel safe and vulnerable. Thank you for being a great friend.
Oh, no, thank you. It's been great meeting you, seriously.
To see your growth as well. It's been fantastic. A year ago, she told me about this. She wanted to do this. Here she is making it happen.
It's not easy either.
No, no.
Not gonna lie. It is a journey too of growth. Like you said, putting yourself out there, learning all these things.
1,000%. I think, you're doing the right thing. You made yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah. So I'm very happy that I met amazing people like you and Giovanni, other people that had come into my life.
Absolutely.
It's just been amazing. Yeah. So I'm very happy. And thank you so much for sharing your story, your journey. And I hope that this inspires people that are listening. And if you want to get in touch with Anthony, where can they find you, and tell us about what you're offering?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Instagram at Anthony.Raimo is my personal, and then my two business pages are at Raimo Renovations. That's my general contracting business, and then at Trident Corporate Housing, and you can find all those off of my personal page.
Yeah, yeah. He has the great content right there.
Thank you, yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube and From the Ground Up with Esther on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, everywhere. And if you want to share your story of growth, resilience, you're building something meaningful in your life, you can find the link in my bio, and I'll get in touch with you, and we can have a conversation and share your story that will inspire other people too, and maybe give advice or just help. We're here to inspire others, to help us grow, like take the next step. This is something I
Right.
learned growing together, because through these conversations, I'm learning myself and getting inspired, getting accountability for myself.
This is where true wisdom lies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, learning from other people's experiences.
Yeah. So it's a learning journey for sure.
Absolutely. This was beautiful.
No.
Everyone go like, subscribe, and share. Comment,
Yes.
do it all.
Comment, like, subscribe, share, everything, guys. So thank you so much. I'm very happy that you were here with us and listening to the stories and the conversation, because I know that it will bless your life, and, just keep growing together, right?
Grow together, grow with God, put
Yeah.
God at the center of it.
Yes, put God at the center of it. That's always, always, and He will help you, right? All right. Thank you, guys. I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like, follow, subscribe, and leave us a review, as your feedback continues to help us grow this podcast. If you have any questions or would like to connect, we are on Instagram at From the Ground Up with Esther, or you can email us at esthermoscoso.pod@gmail.com. And as always, thank you to our show sponsor, Mary's Alfajores, delicious sweet treats that melt in your mouth. I will see you on the next episode.